ASCI does quite a few things to help the industry create more responsible advertising. One of them is what we call advertising advice. Advertising advice is very important as a service to our industry for a simple reason. As you all know, the market has become so incredibly competitive today. There are so many brands in each category, all vying for the consumers' hearts and minds. Now, in their effort to be more persuasive, what happens is that these brands tend to push claims, right? Now, sometimes those claims can go beyond the codes, right? Go beyond the lines. So while you are pushing, while you want to be persuasive, while you want to sell more, I think it's important that marketers also remember that they need to protect consumer interests. And that's where advertising advice comes in. Now, producing a campaign takes a lot of money and effort. A lot of crores goes into making a television commercial, for example, or photography, or a digital campaign production. Before you even produce your campaign, what advertising advice does is you can send your campaign to ASCI. We have a separate panel of experts who will go through your campaign even before it's produced and point out to you whether there are any potential areas of violation that may happen. And therefore, you can take that into account while producing your campaign itself. Because later on, to try and correct an already produced campaign will be far more expensive and far more painful. So, which is why we said, send it to ASCI. It's a separate panel, very confidentially. Within a few days, you'll get a response from the experts saying this is okay, or here is a potential violation, change this scene, or do this, think of this in your claim, etc. We have experts as well, if your claim is a technical one, who will be able to advise you what kind of substantiation may be required. That's what advertising advice is, and I would urge all marketers and advertisers to avail of it, because it's not just useful for you in terms of saving a lot more production costs later on, but also very good for the consumer, because at the end of the day, it will result in more responsible advertising going out to them. Remember, this is advertising advice. It's not a pre-approval, which means that the advice is non-binding on the advertiser, right, nor on the complaints counsel. It is something that you can treat as due diligence while you're working on your claims to the consumer, because in case there is a complaint that comes up, and that is something that can always happen, you will be in a better position to defend your claim because of the due diligence that you've done. That's the reason why I urge people to get it right before you even produce your campaign. The second thing ASCI does in helping the industry create more responsible advertising is obviously training, and that's one of the most important things, right? We have conducted workshops for a very nominal fee for many of our big marketing teams, in some cases 20-25 teams of marketing brand managers and their advertising agency partners, on what are the ASCI codes, what are the laws that they should keep in mind. And we can even customize it relatively to their sector. So for example, if you're an automotive client, we can do it for your company and your marketing team and your agency partners. This training now we have rolled out to quite a few institutions. We've done it for many companies. It's very important, as every year you hire more and more people in your organization. They need to be aware of and be trained on what are the codes of self-regulation and responsible advertising they need to follow, and treat it as part of the induction into marketing for them. And ASCI is only too happy to help you understand these codes better with examples and anecdotes, and all the past cases of ASCI are there in the public domain. You can go and visit them, you can understand them. So training is the second thing that is very importantly required, and that's what we do to help the industry towards more responsible advertising. The third we do are, of course, a lot of industry reports that are there to help you create better work and better advertising. We launched Gender Next, which is a very comprehensive study done across the country on how women are portrayed in advertising and how they should be portrayed in advertising. Please take a look at that report. It's got some great insights and in many ways quite surprised us by the progressiveness shown by our consumers on what they see are cliches and stereotypes that we unfortunately tend to see in advertising and what can be done about changing that. I think that was very good. We've done a similar thing for the education, edtech sector. We've done recently released a report on dark patterns. All of these are not just important issues that affect consumers, but it's also stuff that will give you actionable insights so that when you are getting into your marketing program, you can actually avail of some of these insights and keep that in mind while creating your campaigns. Yeah, so these are some of the various ways we proactively want to help the industry create more responsible advertising, because with great creative power always comes a great responsibility.